Now that this channel is monetized, I want you guys to hit that like button. It helps the algorithm.
Okay. Hold on. What does this say? Okay, got it. Is it recording right now?
Yeah.
Okay. So Lenny, we've known each other for a while.
Right.
I knew you back when you had, was it a red wall in the background?
Yes, of course. They call it the red room.
And you were like, well, you still scream into the camera, but that was like OG days when I think you just used your computer before, right?
I believe so, yes.
Okay.
Let's see. I believe so. I believe so, yes. Just gotta adjust. I like the adjust. I just gotta make it a little small little adjustment. But
yeah, I was gonna say, the first time I talked to you, I don't even remember how I found you, but I remember I messaged you and I was like, how much is it just to talk to you? And then you're like, you said your price for love magic, and then I forget for hexes. And I was like, no, I'm not looking for that. I just want to talk to you because I just started spirituality. I was just getting into it. I didn't know anyone else who was into it. So I just wanted to talk to you. And you ended up like doing a little bit of a reading on me, and then we kind of got into what you practiced. So I kind of want to start with that now. Like, how would you describe what it is that you do?
That's a good question. I would say that I have a base and I don't deviate from my base. And I would say that I utilize what works. You know, see, the thing is, there's one thing about being religious and being ritualistic. For me, I believe in doing what works. I don't discriminate upon what methods I use. If it works, that's all that's important to me. You know, but I would say my background is Haitian voodoo, you know, but being a person that is international, traveling a lot, going various places, you know, you pick up different things as you go, you know, so I would say that I'm a very fluid, open individual when it comes to what I do. But as far as job description, I would say that I help a lot of people with situations revolving around love, revolving around finance, financial assistance, revolving around even retribution. Yes, retribution. I know that sounds very interesting, but yes.
Okay. So actually, on the topic of that, I kind of had a question in regards to hexes and stuff, because you're pretty vocal on your, I guess you could say, the victims that have curses put on them, and people text you all the time and say, oh, this happened, this person got in a car accident, things like that. So do you believe that what you're doing is technically bad? Like, do you believe that you'll ever get karma for what it is that you do? And do you believe in karma?
Very good question. Okay. Well, my hands are clean. When a person says karma, you know, what is karma? Karma is when someone does a bad deed. I don't see myself doing a bad deed, you know, because I'm not the one out that's going out there doing it. My hands are clean. In my culture, we got a thing called madichon. Madichon is basically when you summon bad luck into your life by doing evil things. I've always had a statement: whatever doesn't penetrate ricochets. And when I say this, it means what you do, if it doesn't hit its direct target, it's got to go somewhere. It's got to come back somewhere. It's going to hit, you know, jump off the wall and ricochet somewhere. So for me, that's how I look at it. If you're doing work like that type of work, if it doesn't hit its target, it's going to ricochet. It's going to come back to you. So what a person has to do, in my opinion, is that you got to hit your target. Now, one thing in Haitian culture, we don't have a thing such as karma, but we do have a thing close to it called madichon. But that is when you do evil acts. You know, certain things in life are taboo and they just have this negative reaction, you know? So it's more of like dotting your I's and crossing your T's. In society, some people would say a good criminal never gets caught. So we can say on a spiritual line, it's probably somewhat similar, you know, where we have a Bokor or a, you know, a black magician or a sorcerer. What they know is how to manipulate the laws so that the effects of what they do don't fall back on them. So that's
Okay.
how I see this whole scheme of karma. And this is how a lot of us Haitians see it, is that when you're doing magie, you got to know what you're doing. Because if you don't know what you're doing, it can fall back on you. It can fall back on your friends. It can fall back on your lover. It can fall back on your children. It can fall back on your family. So for us, we don't have necessarily a karma, but we do have something similar, which is malediction. And that can be caused by acts, bad acts or so, or things, you know, it can fall into the line of even magie if you don't do what you do, if you don't do your stuff right. This is why they always tell you, make sure what you're doing, you do it right. Because if you don't do it right, it's going to fall back on you. It's going to fall back on those you love as well.
Okay. Have you ever cursed somebody and felt like they didn't deserve it? Or like, has a client ever come to you and said, look, this person did this, and you kind of thought that it was excessive for them to do something like this back to them?
I never cursed a person a day in my life.
Okay, well, the curse that they technically sent to the
But
person.
now, what I will say, from what I've seen people do work. Can you repeat your question again?
So has a client ever come to you and said, look, you need to curse this person, and explains what they did, and you're like, well, that's kind of excessive for what they did. Like, you don't think that whatever it is that they committed was even that bad to begin with, but they still want that person cursed.
I would say this. Well, I've never had a client come to me and ask for such things. Now, if they ask me to pray to Jesus Christ, I'm going to pray for them, you know, pray that their situation was resolved. But now, if we're talking about what I've seen with other people, I would say that I've seen other people where I felt that it may have been a little excessive. But for me personally, I've never had a client, you know, ask me anything such as that whatsoever, or put myself in a situation. It's always been, you know, can you pray for me? You know, can you light a candle for me? And that's usually been it. But
Interesting. Interesting. What would you say, like, I guess in case because you don't want to say too much about clients, but what was the most crazy thing that had happened after they put black magic on someone?
Now, with them doing black magic themselves, I would say I've seen situations, man, how could I say this? Man, there's so many things I've seen people do throughout the years. Like, man, where do I begin? Oh, I can say, man, I can say from here, there's this one individual. I don't know, there's just so many stories, but I can give you one scenario. There's this one individual, he's messing with someone's wife. And this individual did something to the individual. And what ended up happening, the guy broke his back in numerous places. He was driving a car one day and he got a little irate for some kind of reason. And come to find out what happened was the guy was driving and for some kind of reason, he lost his mind and he took his car and drove it. I believe either it was into a tree or it was basically down by a river or something like that. But somehow he had another female in the car, which they believe that he was messing with while he was messing with this person's wife. She ended up dying instantly because she got crushed to death. The guy ended up breaking his back in numerous places. So, I mean, if that's excessive, that can be looked as excessive, you know?
Was that something one of your clients did?
I mean, I would say they did it on their own. They did it on their own. Not for me. Like, you know, I don't condone stuff like that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
So what's your take on that? Okay. Was this true? Was this story true where that white girl summoned Papa Legba? Was that actually a true story, or was that just
I have no idea. That is another very good question. I have no idea. It could, you know, nowadays with social media, there's a lot of people with clout and stuff like that searching for clout. Mm-hmm. You know, listen, you never know with social media today. You never know. I don't know myself. I never looked into it. I never really cared much about the situation. It was very, very interesting that happened, but I don't know. There's a lot of people doing things for social media views and stuff, you know? So.
Yeah. So would you say, like, the way social media is now, would you say that most Because I feel like you do see a lot of people that claim to practice voodoo and can do curses and stuff. So would you say a lot of the ones that are out on social media now are garbage, or would you say that they're actually legitimate?
I would say that, well, I've always had the opinion, out of 100%, probably 5% of people know what they're doing. The number is very small of people that know how to do, serious black magic. Look, I would say this. This is why in this community, a lot of people, I would say, I don't necessarily know if using the word scammed is the right word. This is why I feel like a lot of people don't get what they're looking for. Because sometimes I don't even think it's about scamming. I think it's some of these people genuinely don't have the skills necessary in order to carry these things out. So they think that they're capable of doing it because they think they've never been in a place where it was like a gym, where you go here and you practice this over and over and over and over. These guys just do it. Okay, I'm gonna do something, and they probably seen something happen once, and then they left it alone, and probably 5, 6 months later, or 3 years later, they try to do something else, and not knowing that a lot of this is about repetition, and a lot of people are not repetitive, so they try something new, and they think it's gonna work, and it doesn't work. So for me, it's like I don't think that a lot of people have that training to be able to do this. This is why when people come to me and say that they have a curse on them, whatsoever, I say, I don't believe you. I rarely believe people when they tell me they have a curse on them. I rarely believe it.
Have you ever had someone that actually did have a curse on them and you're like, wow, okay, we need to do something about this?
I would say that I suspect rather than thought, or I would say I suspected they had something going on with them rather than me believing that, or assume. I would say I've seen situations that gave me reason to believe this is what it is. I don't ever say that I have a definite yes if someone has work on them. I don't get into that superstitious, oh, this is, you got work on you. I don't get into that. I would like to see concrete evidence. If you walked in the house and you found something your wife was tying up with your pictures in there, okay, well, that's definite that, she was trying to do something to you. If you find out this, one spiritualist one time called, I believe they were trying to boast about they cursed me or so, and they had a picture with some candles and they put knives around it and they put my picture underneath it whatsoever. And it's like, okay, you're posting in your stories to show that you did something to me. But, that would be a grounds to say that I assume that someone has basically tried to work on me whatsoever. And, that's, I would assume, obviously it didn't work because look at me now.
Have you ever actually felt someone trying to put a curse on you or anything like that?
I don't even listen, this is the crazy thing about it. I have never paid attention if someone cursed me or not. I have never done so. So there could be people throwing curses at me today. I don't know. I just don't care. I just focus on what I have to do. It's kind of like what you focus on, that will be your reality. So I don't have time to focus on what somebody else is doing. So I don't know if people have cursed me. They probably have. I don't care. I don't really see it in my life. I just focus on what I need to do ritualistically what I have to do to better my life, So yeah.
Okay, interesting. Wow. So is there actually, no, I wanted to ask, were you actually anointed into practicing voodoo, like Haitian voodoo?
I would say I come from a very strong family line of people that practice. And for me, when the age of understanding or accountability came into play, this is when I was introduced to it. So if a person wants to say, from looking at it from a universal standpoint, some people would say that I'm anointed. For me, I just look at it as a human being that at a certain age, when my family felt that I was wise enough to understand, they opened up to me. So a person can look at that any way they want to. One thing I'm gonna say about me is that I have a realistic approach to everything. Some people would even say that I'm almost atheist or agnostic, but I'm not. I'm just a realistic person.
Okay. So you probably see stuff in movies where people do spells to make a girl lose her hair and things like that. And you're like, no, that's not really
I'm
how.
not saying that's not. I'm not going to say that's not possible because that actually is possible. You know,
Okay.
I'm not going to discredit the power of spell work. It is actually possible. But to say that everybody's able to do it or so, I'm not naive or nonchalant, but I just know how to separate the foolishness from reality.
Okay. Have you ever done a love spell for yourself?
I mean, who hasn't? When talking in this witchcraft, sorcery stuff like that. When I was younger, I used to do a lot of that stuff, but as you get older and you begin to, I guess, you have that magnetic personality, you find that there's no need for that. When I was younger, of course, I was, definitely into that. I used a lot of it when I was younger, whatsoever. Yeah.
Okay. Any stalkers come out of that or no?
Of course. And that's when you have to know, when's the limit, because yeah, some of these people can turn into stalkers, man. And, hey, man, it's like sometimes you can do it and the person becomes too much for you. Where I'm a type of person, I don't like clingy people.
Yeah.
For me, when I do something, the person become very clingy, I would get to the point where I don't even want them anymore. Yeah.
Mhm.
So love magic is something that I was very successful at, but I just have the type of personality. I don't like to be cluttered. I don't like people being around me too much. I like my space.
Yeah. Interesting. What's your life path number?
I think it was 11 or so. I believe it was 11 or 2, one of those.
Okay. I was actually going to say probably 11 or 7. That was my guess. Because
Okay.
11 is actually very spiritual as well.
Right. Yeah, I believe it's 11, 11, 2, or 7. One of those numbers are in there. So I believe 7 is probably in there too. I forgot what it is. Yeah, I know I forgot what number it is, but I know it's 7, 2, and 11. Yeah.
Okay.
Those numbers placed on out
Interesting.
like it.
So would you say that you were actually taught what it is that you do, or is a lot of it just you just know how to do this stuff?
I would say part of it is taught and part of it is intuition. Now, how deep intuition goes, whether someone wants to say it's a subconscious thing or whether someone wants to say it's a spiritual thing, that's fine with me. But I would say on the ground of what I did, I would say partially taught. To be honest, I would say partially taught, partial experimentation, and third, intuition.
Okay. Interesting. I actually spoke to a lady at the occult shop. This was years ago. And she did voodoo as well. And she said that the way that she knew that she was meant to practice that was that the deities or whatever that she worked with would visit her in her dreams and were pretty much like saying, you need to work with us. So did you ever experience something like that?
No.
No? Okay. Have you ever seen any of them?
If a person wants to label things you see in your sleep as a manifestation of them, then yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Are they as scary as you see on like American Horror Story and stuff like that?
Absolutely not. And sometimes when they appear to you as normal people, as normal people. See, the thing is, we assign who they are. We human beings assign who they are because when they appear to you, they're not going to appear, with, like Legba with a walking cane. See, that is your subconscious programming. Saying when you watch all these things on TV, if nobody's seen Legba with a walking cane in the hat, they would not assume Legba was like that. See, that's because of conditioning in society that we view Legba like that. So when we remove all these layers of conditioning from our mind, we will get things in its pure form. So for me, a spirit can appear in many ways. It can appear in the form of an animal. Look at the symbol of Legba that we have in our yard in Haiti. We don't have a picture of Legba. We have a tree where we serve Legba at. So for us, it's a tree. So it could be anything. It could be an animal crawling up the tree, which sort of let us know we gotta do something. So that's my view of how I see Legba. Legba can be in the form of a tree. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I
He
mean,
can come in the form of a dog as well. For me, yeah.
even the form as a dog once?
Yes, he can come to me. I'm just saying he can come in the form of a dog as well.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
Okay. No, that makes sense. That makes sense. Is there any practitioners that you look up to or are your mentors in any way?
No,
Really?
no. If anyone, I would say, if there's anything close to that, I would say my father. My father's a preacher. I look up to my father very well.
Is
Very
he a
highly.
preacher in Haiti?
Huh?
Is he a preacher in Haiti or
Yes,
in
he
the US?
is. Yes, he
Yeah.
is. I would
Okay.
say that is the only person I look up to, and I feel like I wish to become. I would say to accomplish what he's accomplished whatsoever. Because my father, I think he's built a lot of things. He's done a lot of things. He's owned a lot of property. He's done a lot. So
Mhm.
for me, it's like, yeah, he's a preacher. He did the preaching thing. I mean, today, some people may say that I'm preaching today, but what do I have to show for it? A nice place to stay and a bunch of Rolex watches and nice clothes is not. It's really nothing. Some people may say it's a big deal. Nice cars is a big deal, but when you look at what this man has done, orphanages. I mean, I've put money into certain infrastructures as well, but to say I created an orphanage, I created this monument, this place here. I've built this place. I've built that place. And to do it on a big scale like that, and to be a spiritual person, that to me is outstanding. So when I look at spiritualists today, I don't see any spiritualists today that I can really look up to because my dad was universal. He related to the poorest of the poorest. He related to the richest of the richest. And he relates, I'm not going to say in past tense. My dad, when he was younger, I would see as a kid, poor people would come into the house.
Mhm.
They would come to the house, open up the refrigerator. That's how cool my dad was. He would
Really?
leave his house open so that anyone could come to his house. If they're hungry, they can go to open his refrigerator and get what they want to eat
Oh,
and then
that's
leave out
nice.
the house. So I'm living with my father. I'm seeing this as a kid. Like this guy, his house was so open to the point where anybody could walk in. If they wanted something, they could take it. My dad would have no problem with it.
He was never
So,
afraid of like getting robbed or anything?
huh?
He never got like robbed or anything like that?
Um, he never got robbed, never got robbed. But one friend of his did steal something from him. But it was nothing major. He stole a Bible from my dad,
Hmm.
and either it was a Bible or it was a couple of Bibles, I mean, probably three, four, a couple of Bibles or something like that. But I think he probably stole one Bible from my dad. That's one thing you don't do. You don't steal from him. Though it's something small, the thing is this: you can have anything you want here. Just ask. Why do you steal? Once you steal, that says a lot about your character. You can do, if you can steal this something this small, imagine if it was something bigger.
How
And
did
to
he
me,
know that he stole that though?
huh?
How did he know that he stole that, that his friend stole that?
I think either he found out some way or somebody, the guy confessed to it or something like that. Maybe guiltiness was on his conscience, but the guy ended up confessing to it. But even though that's small, but that's just an example of nobody ever did anything. Like they knew my dad knew a lot of people. A lot of people loved him from the lowest of the low, to the highest of the high. And that was the universal thing about my dad. He could relate to everyone, you know. So again, I don't see any spiritualists today that I can say, or even older than me, that I can say that I look up to. Only man that I look up to is my father, and that's it.
Wow, that's
Mhm.
awesome. I wasn't sure what I expected you to say with that question. I
Oh,
either thought you were going to say no one or you were going to possibly just say someone that you didn't want, that I guess maybe doesn't want to be online or something like that. So
oh, right. Mhm.
is there other, like, would you say most practitioners aren't online and kind of prefer to be more secretive? Like the genuine ones, would you say are more secretive?
Um, I would say there are genuine people, but I feel like this is the ground where you test your stuff. Social media, you can say that you're bad, you're this and that, but here is where you test your stuff. Like yeah, there's a lot of fakes, but then again, you look at their lifestyle. You can see that it's clearly not working for them. For me, social media is your testing ground because you have a lot of competition out here. And if you're fake and you're not really what you're talking about, you're going to definitely fall. You know, you're going to fall. There's a lot of people that called me fake in the past, and then you see what happens to them. You know, if I'm fake, you know, what's up with you now? Yeah. Mm-hmm. So the proof is in the pudding. But yes, you're going to get tested. But you're going to get tested. You know, if you're fake, you're going to get tested. You know, you're going to get tested in the midst of, like with people trying to plot against you, people trying to make fake reviews about you. You know, like one guy, I would say, you know what? I would say one thing about the community. See, I'm going to mention Tata Angolo in this video. Tata.
Okay.
Like, and I'm not going to speak bad about the brother. I feel like, you know, I feel like the community was very bad to him. And in a sense, you know, I kind of feel like the community was kind of bad to him. And instead of helping the brother out, instead of helping him or giving him game, you know what I'm saying? It's almost like everyone bashed him. And then on top of that, he had a community that he was stepping in, that his argument was because he was Black, he didn't get the support that he needed. I mean, listen, I'm not gonna 100% say that I agree with that, but I can understand some of that. You know, I can understand some of that. And this is why I feel I'm so blessed to be in a predominantly Black tradition from my cultural perspective, because I know how people that don't look like us can be. Mm-hmm. When we try to connect into or get into things like that, we get dirty looks and stuff like, come on, man, I'm Black myself. And when I would go to certain botanicas in the past, just not even looking flagrant, just looking normal, I would see how these people would react to me when I would go in there. So I understand where he's coming from, but also you got to be able to separate yourself from the foolishness, because if you look like the next motherfucker out there, the next common thug, what do you expect? Where if you look like you leveled up, it's going to be a different ball game, you know? So, but I feel like as far as he is concerned, I feel like the community kind of bashed him a bit, you know? The community kind of bashed him a bit. And again, part of it, I can say he should, you know, he could take responsibility for some things that he put in motion, but I feel like the community was kind of unfair to him to a degree, you know? Yeah, that's my take on it. But here is a stomping ground, because, you know, yeah, it's a place to prove yourself. And sometimes you gotta stomp your competition out. My thing with him was, when competition comes, you don't just sit there and let people talk about you. You know what I'm saying? And I tell people, if you're gonna get up on this shit, when people violate, you gotta demonstrate. Because what's gonna happen, people wanna keep on playing with you. They're gonna make fake reviews. See, the thing is, they're gonna make fake reviews. They're gonna make fake, like prime example, rip-off report. They say this man got like over 100 something rip-off reports. Like today, I don't believe that shit is necessary. All that shit is true. Like today, I see some people like, damn, I be looking at some of these things that people write about this man. Like, yo, they write these crazy things about him. Like, oh, the pedophile and this and that. Like, where's the paperwork? Where's the legal paperwork? Where's the proof? You know? So I can see that some of that was manufactured rather than being true. But this is the thing. When you are a person that, let's say, you're really about what you're talking about, people should tremble in fear to do shit. They may not believe it at first. But when misfortunate things begin to happen around them, that definitely sends a message to the brain. See, if he handled a situation like that, and this is why I say, when you hear the internet is a testing ground, because people are going to test you to see if you're really about what you're about. My thing is, a lot of people have tried to do the same with me, and it did not work out for them. See, sometimes you gotta, huh?
I remember that. Was it White Witch or something?
I mean, there's a whole bunch of, listen, there's a whole bunch of people there's a whole bunch of people that are not around today. So I like, there's a whole bunch of people. I can't even, man, there's so many people. Right. But you got to be that way. When you enter on social, this is a testing ground. When we step out here, I don't think it's about the genuine don't want to be on social media. Because the thing is, for me, I get some people some people are very private. Like I got family members that would not dare to get on social media and do this. So for me, I've had family members that I got in disputes to in the past about some of the stuff that I posted, and they're saying they don't want to be they don't want to be on social media and stuff like that, whatever. So
you used to be a lot, we'll just say you used to be a lot more open on Facebook.
right. I used to be a lot more open, so
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. So since we're on the topic of that, would you say most of your clientele is Black people, or would you say it's a mix of different ethnicities?
It's a mixture of different ethnicities.
So none is more prominent than the other.
Man, that's crazy. I would say, man, I have a lot of clientele, and it's like the rainbow. A person would think that it would be predominantly Black, but it's like a rainbow of color, a rainbow of people that are that basically do business with me.
Okay, interesting. Because I've seen your comments, and it's mostly like Black men, Black women. So I just wanted, I don't know, I had a feeling that your clientele was different ethnicities for sure.
I was, yeah. Well, listen, YouTube, you don't know who's commenting. You don't know who's commenting. You know what I'm saying? That's the funny thing about YouTube. But Facebook, see, that you got to understand the cultural differences. See, white people, you got to understand, white people, I get it. Yo, what the fuck are you doing? If they look at some of my shit, they're gonna be like, their white friends gonna be like, what the fuck are you doing? Fuck with this Black man over here. I get it. I don't give a damn. Listen, I don't care about like the color issue when it comes to the dumb whatsoever. We doing business. So if you got white people that's gonna feel some type of way with you dealing business with a dude that look like a rapper, you know what I'm saying, or whatever the fuck, you know what I'm saying? I get it. I don't have a problem with that. And that goes with all my clients. Like if I see you in public and you don't say nothing to me, I'm not gonna say nothing to you because I get it. Like people, listen, I have a reputation that many people would not publicly want to associate with themselves. And I get it. And I have no problem with that. If I see you in public, I act like I don't know you, just like if you see me in public and you act like you don't know me, I don't know you either. That's how I see it. That's you know what I'm saying? Like I get it, So if you don't see them people commenting, Asians or whites or whatever, you don't see them commenting, it's cool. It's cool because I get it. You know what I'm saying? Your people gonna be like, yo, what are you doing with that Black man over there? You know what I'm saying? Hey, listen, in America, if you see a white dude in a Black man's car, they're automatically assuming if you're in a hood that white man's gonna go buy drugs, man. So
yeah, so I get that.
Yeah, so that's usually how it is, man. So yeah.
Okay, so without obviously saying any names, would you say that any of your clients are people that anyone watching now might recognize if you actually said their name? Like people in the public eye, something like that.
I would say so, yes.
Yeah? Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. We'll just leave it at that. Mm-hmm. On to the next topic. Mm-hmm. So what is what goals do you have? Because you're pretty successful right now. So where do you actually, if you could see yourself in 10 years, what would you like to see?
I would say, you know what? I don't plan for things. I never have planned for things. I just did what I felt was needed at the time. Like this social media thing, I didn't plan to do social media. I just get on it one day and basically drop some shit and boom, I blew the fuck up, Mm-hmm. Outside of that, getting back to your question, what do I plan for the future? I don't have necessarily a plan for the future. I just know what I want personally, what I want to do. Like I said, I want to mirror what my father did. And some people may say that you have to strive to do more than what your father did. I mean, I don't want to do that, but if that comes, it comes. I'm I want to do big things like he did. Having a lot of money is not nothing. To say when you get to the point where people love you like the way they love this man and the stuff that he did, that is, yeah, that is a lot. I mean, I speak in past tense because there was a point where he was at his prime. And at his prime, he was doing a lot. Right now, he's old in age. You know, he's still taking care of stuff. But I'm just saying, where this man was at his prime, oh man, literally, this man was unstoppable. When I'm telling you, my dad had so many haters, and I think that haters reflect, you know, my life reflects it like father, like son. Like literally, there was people that, man, this sounds kind of harsh, kind of crazy now. There's been hitmen that was hired to kill my father. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, wow. Literally. I'm not talking no spiritual shit. If you watch the documentary, The Face of God, you know what I'm saying? I show you where they try to kill him whatsoever, you know what I'm saying? That showed where the bullet hit, you know, hit whatsoever, you know, and man, it's like, that's what happens when you're successful. Hate comes with that, you know? Yeah, wow. But that comes with it. But outside of that, I would say what he did, I want to do the same and more.
Wow. That's actually what I was afraid of before I started my channel. Mind you, I don't have much of a following now, but that's what I was afraid of, is I was like, well, what happens when there's people that just hate you for no reason and they just want to, you know, attack you or something like that?
Like they say, retaliation is a must. That's it. For me, it's like this. You can't back down. You know, you got to be a person, you got to be a person. But again, it all depends on what field you're in. You know, like you got to be a person that's going to retaliate. You know, for me, if someone, let's just say, let's move away from spirituality for a second. If someone was to attempt to do something to me in my city, there would be a swift retaliation. And that's not talking about anything spiritual. In Haiti, if someone would do something to me or attempt to do something to me, there would be a swift retaliation. So when talking about this social media stuff, taking it onto the spiritual sense, there has to be a swift retaliation. See, the thing is, it's not about you doing it. See, it's not about you having the muscle and the power, because how can one person take on 30 people? Or, you know, sometimes you got to let your brain work. And when your brain works, hey, all things are possible. You know, so yeah, you got to be able to mentally respond to certain situations. Like, you can never be afraid of that. Is, you know, for me, I listen, I don't even do black magic. I don't. My hands are clean.
Yeah, no, I definitely feel that. I mean, I don't know if you've watched any of my videos, but I'm all about like healing the inner child and dealing with your shadow side. And I haven't seen any videos of you talking about that recently, but I remember your older videos, you did talk about stuff like that.
I'm gonna say this. Long as you don't step on any toes and you mind your business in this community, you'll be fine. But of course, haters are going to come. But in the field that you're in, I'm going to say it's a very safe field, because you're not getting into things that would happen. See, in my field, there's a lot of crazy people in my field. A lot of sadistic, crazy people. Even you may even find some sociopaths and psychopaths in this field. For me, when I hear what you're talking about, it's very loving, very, very positive, you know? And most of you probably get is someone saying, I don't think she's like that. You know, I don't think she's really, you know, spiritual. You know, you're going to have that type of audience. Where per se, my audience, yeah, you're pretty much looking at some people that got some serious, they can have some affiliations. They can have some affiliations or so, you know, so it can definitely get out of hand, you know, but you got to be able to counterbalance that in my field. But I think you're fairly well, you know, just long as you don't disrespect anyone, you don't name names or so, you should be fine. You know, I wouldn't put worry in my mind about stuff like that. It's just don't step on the wrong toes and you will be fine. You know, for me, I'm very cautious about the things that I say personally.
You are vocal though. You're pretty open about your beefs though.
Yeah, I'm vocal. Yeah,
Not that
you
you
know,
started them. You never start them, but
right, right. You know what I'm saying? Right. But now today, because of monetization from YouTube now, I got to do a lot of things right, you know? So the stuff that I used to do, I've definitely calmed down a lot about, you know, a lot with that. And so, you know, because like it's not only, you know, I'm getting older. I'm beginning to get a lot of sponsors now. You know, I'm getting a lot of people that want to, you know, that want to work with me, collab with me and stuff like that. They want me to promote their products on my channel. So I'm getting a lot of that and I don't want to lose my sponsors. So it's like, you know, my approach today is kind of, if you look at my video channels on YouTube, you don't see any videos like for the past couple of months where I'm actually antagonizing another spiritualist or going back and forth. Look at my channel today. My channel is clean. There's nothing talking about other spiritualists in there whatsoever.
mm-hmm. No, I did notice you have calmed down a lot since since I first saw you.
Right.
Yeah.
When you get a little money, you know, things change.
Yeah. No, and I agree. And it's not about like there's certainly stuff that I see on YouTube that I do not agree with, but I'd never specifically make a video talking against that person because I'm pretty sure there's people that see my stuff and don't agree with me as well, right?
Right.
So yeah. So yeah, that's interesting. Actually, kind of going back to the whole shadow work and everything, I remember you mentioning that I don't know how old you were when this happened, but you did mention that when you were younger, you did go through a stage where I think you were you actually like in a mental hospital or something, or you said something like that.
No.
Or you were somewhere and you were like, I don't know, going through an episode or something. I guess you were still
No.
learning about black magic or no? Or
No,
learning about
nah,
magic.
never no mental institution, never that.
No? Okay.
Never that. Maybe it was a situation that I had, a situation that I don't want to speak about whatsoever.
Okay.
I've had a lot of listen, like if a person would touch my skull here, like this, touch my skull, this part is full. I'm actually missing a part of bone from here. You know,
Really?
basically, I was shooting a shotgun one day. The shotgun, somebody gave me the wrong round, and the shit exploded, jumped back, and cracked me in the fucking skull. So I've had a lot of traumatic situations that I don't think it would be wise for me to even talk about on social media right now, or just
Yeah, no, I understand that. You don't want to bring light to something negative. So
exactly. Thank you.
I understand that.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
So what would you like, what would your advice be on someone that is watching my channel and is in the middle of healing their shadow, dealing with that part of themselves? Because you obviously went through your Saturn return. You already went through all that. So
I would say this is that healing that side of you will do a lot for you, because
that's what I say too.
a lack of discipline, when I say discipline, it's not, oh, I'm not picking up the phone and talking to my ex-lover no. Having restraint and having some limitations on your spirit will actually be beneficial for you. Because when you don't have discipline, you're going to do whatever you want. And the universe and the law of society does not work like that. When you're reckless and you're doing reckless things off of impulse, you can find yourself being incarcerated. You can find yourself being killed. There's a lot of things. You know, you can actually destroy yourself by eating the wrong foods, not having discipline over the things you eat. It could be detrimental to your health. So there's people that have psychological problems. They have traumatic situations that they're going through daily, and it stems from their child. It could be their childhood. It could be some things that they went through with people. You know, they could have been, they could have been robbed, at one point, or they could have been raped, or they could have been molested, So these things, they have an effect on the way a person acts in society. So when you say heal the shadow self, you're healing the dark self, because now the shadow self can, if it's not trained or taught, can begin to develop different types of desires. And now those desires come to the conscious mind of the individual. And now they start acting off those things. So when you go through these traumatic episodes, you got to heal. You got to find a mechanism to rejuvenate. Yes.
Yeah, no, it's that it's Malcolm X that said if you don't stand for anything, you'll fall for, or if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything, right? That's what Malcolm X said. I'm pretty sure.
Sorry, there's somebody at my door.
Oh, I thought something happened. I was like,
No, somebody was at my door. I was wondering who the hell is this guy? Guy was
okay.
all scruffy. I'm like, okay. Yeah, but yeah, it was a delivery. Yeah, I'm back. Yes.
Did you hear what I said?
Repeat your question.
Oh, okay. I said it was Malcolm X.
Yeah, that's where we was at. What you were saying with Malcolm X, but I'm listening to you.
Yeah, so that's what I was, it kind of goes in hand with that, is because I noticed with myself is that I was taught things about myself and about the world that were incorrect. And now part of my shadow healing is basically reteaching myself and realizing that a lot of what I taught was, or a lot of what I learned was incorrect.
Right.
So it's kind of reshaping my reality in a way.
So if you read Malcolm X's book, then you're basically, your eyes are being opened, because with education, see.
It was a hard book to read. It was a hard book.
Yes, I read that book when I was probably 17. I read a lot of books when I was younger, but as far as that book is concerned, I would say the healing aspect of that, it's like your thoughts, what you're taught, you're being reprogrammed, because the thing is, habitual, even a traumatic episode is a form of teaching. You can teach your dark side certain things that it may desire. So a traumatic episode, now you find pleasure in that traumatic situation. Now you have to be reintroduced the right way. You have to be conditioned the right way to know that this is not right. Yes. So even with picking up the book of Malcolm X, you're being trained, you're being reintroduced to something. You're being taught the right way because you've been taught the wrong way. You're in the conditioning that you got. Now you're being reconditioned. Right.
Yeah. No, I agree. I actually, because you've talked about chakras in your past videos, right? Like I remember you talking about chakras, things like that. And one of the things I realized was that when it comes to our lower chakras, and that's what I'm mostly about on my channel, is the reason why when we work with them, a lot of stuff comes up is because we push it down. Like a lot of the trauma we push down. So we don't have to deal with it until it becomes too much and you're overflowed with a bunch of negativity type of thing. So yeah, that's what I talk about on my channel. So
right. See, the chakra thing, I mean, there's various ways to look at it. You can look at it from a chakra point of view. You can look at it just from a psychological point of view. If you want to go deeper, you can go into chakras or so, yeah, I agree with you 100%, Some things you push back to the deepest recesses of your mind. We can take that, if you want to move past the psychological terminologies, you get to the chakras, yeah.
Yeah, it's intense though. I try to tell people, I'm like, you need a support system because stuff will come up that you didn't even realize bothered you, or you didn't even realize was traumatic. And it can drive you crazy if you don't have someone to kind of talk to and, help you through it. So, but you seem like a pretty strong person. You seem like the type that kind of knew right from wrong at a young age and had to work through it, whatever it is that you need to work through. Would you agree?
I would say that I was conditioned at a young age to know right from wrong. And it was what I needed at the time. But there was a point in my life where those teachings, I had to put them down for a sec to live life and to see why those teachings were necessary.
I can definitely see that for sure. That's one of the things I learned about myself was there were certain things that actually messed with the energy within me. And I noticed, I mean, obviously, I think we all, I mean, I don't know about you, but I know for sure me is I definitely went through that victim mentality for a while. And then it wasn't until I actually started healing and clearing energy that I was like, okay, that's why it happened, was because I know how to do this stuff. I just need to use it on myself and then share with people what it is that I know in order to help other people heal as well.
Mm.
At least that's what I believe.
Right. Well, listen, you're on the right path, Healing. See, the thing about you is that you have a very healing energy. Some people's calling is to heal. That's one thing I can say about you, just talking about you. You're definitely a healer. Some people need, there's people out there that need, there's people out there that need people like you. There's people in the world that need people like you. Everybody in the world don't need me. Some people, listen, like, I don't have all the answers. I'm good at what I do. And this is the thing. Right now, we got two screens right here, and this is how it should be. There's somebody that represents the light, and there's somebody that represents the darkness. You know what I'm saying? Like, for me, like it's beautiful to see that where you are in life, because it's like you're uplifting and I'm descending. So therefore, it's like there's people that need both of us in life. People need us.
You know what though? I do have to say that it took a lot of work to get to where I am. And I try not to act like I'm perfect, because I always tell in my videos, I'm still working through a lot. But it took a lot of work to get to where I am. And I just felt like now I got to a point where spirit was like, okay, you need to start a channel. You need to share what you know. You need to help people that are struggling the same way you are, and not to say that I've been through the worst, because I've definitely met people who have been through a hell of a lot worse than me, but I still feel like I can help people with different walks of life, who have had different walks of life.
Right.
So, yeah, no, that is very interesting. I didn't even think of that, how it's like darkness and light.
Right. There's definitely people out here that, again, people need people like you. Unfortunately, we're in the world, in a community, or in, where people just look at everything like, oh, that's bad and this is good. No. People need people like you, and people need people like me. Sometimes, darkness is not the solution. Sometimes people need the light. That's it. Your essence and what you radiate. People need healing. People need it.
I agree. Yeah. I mean, I could tell the world needed healing when the whole COVID thing started and people were getting divorced after like 2 weeks of living with their spouse. I'm like, really, 2 weeks and you're already getting a divorce? Like, yeah, tells me there's more going on for sure. But I kind of wanted to stick to 1 hour. And before we go, I kind of want to do like a lighthearted question. And I've heard a lot of, I guess you could say, myths or legends that happened in Africa and happened in the Caribbean and things like that. So I was wondering, have you ever seen stuff like, I remember I don't know if you saw on TikTok, there was all these people that were like, I saw a man turn into a cat, or I saw a snake turn into a dog, or like something. Have you ever seen something crazy like that happen in Haiti?
For us, I believe that is called, we call that type of entity a loup-garou in Haitian culture. But I feel like a lot of that loup-garou thing is misunderstood and shrouded around superstition. There's people that know and there's people that don't know. It's like the closest thing to that would be animal totem. If you understand how animal totems work, then you have the mystery behind this shape-shifting thing whatsoever. A person taking on this form. It's not actually that. It's not actually a person sitting here and all of a sudden they transform into an animal. It doesn't work like that. Everyone has an animal totem. And the way it works is, I need not say much more. I need not say much more. Go ahead.
All right. No, that makes sense, because I've had dreams of animals at certain times in my life. And then I look up the meaning behind it, and it's like exactly what I'm going through at that particular time. So that makes a lot of sense.
Okay.
So yeah, thank you so much, Lenny, for doing this for me.
All right, you're welcome. All right, we'll keep in touch. All right.
All right.
If you want to check out Whitney Luna's YouTube channel, the link is in the description.